That's all the slides, it's a PDF, or if you want the original PowerPoint.
No, I think PDF will be better.
Vous pouvez vous installer ici.
All right. So good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Leila Yassin. I am Global Advocacy Manager at the Rainforest Alliance. And it's my pleasure to welcome you tonight on this panel on how to conserve forests and enhance food security in the Congo Basin. So as you know, the Congo Basin is actually the second largest river basin after the Amazon, with large areas of intact tropical forests where a unique biodiversity thrives. Dubbed as the lungs of Africa, it spans over 6 countries, and it is the world's largest carbon sink. This region is also a home to 150 different ethnic groups. It provides food security and essential lifeline for indigenous peoples and local communities, depending on the forest and its products. So for thousands of years, the Congo Basin has survived thanks to a close coexistence of a well-balanced collaboration between humans, fauna, and flora. However, the area is increasingly becoming under threat due to deforestation, forest degradation, forest and environmental degradation, and a growing population and the impact of climate change. So Congo is also, for example, like in Congo, you have 500,000 people who live in forest areas, and they actually rely on the fragile ecosystem for their livelihoods, and they're straining biodiversity protections. In Cameroon, food security and land degradation and droughts are exacerbating conflicts over natural resources. So climate action and sustainable solutions are needed to help countries in the Congo basins to pursue green, resilient, and inclusive development that allow them to conserve their natural resources while sustaining livelihoods and hosting economic diversification. So this is why today, for this discussion, I am welcoming our 3 panels. I'd like to welcome Mrs. Nadège Nyozem, who is the Director, Central Africa Rainforest Alliance. Nadège has 20 years of experience in sustainable development and advisory practice, working with international NGOs to protect forests and improve the livelihoods of farmers and local communities, and help them to mitigate and adapt to climate change. She has good experience working with a wide range of stakeholders, including governments, bilateral and multilateral agencies, the private sector, multi-stakeholder platforms, civil society organization, and regional bodies. Welcome, Nadège. And I'm also welcoming Jean-Robert Bwangoy, Bankaza Bolombe, I hope I'm pronouncing everything well, DRC Country Director of Wildlife Works. So JR, for those who are familiar to Jean-Robert, is a well-respected leader in his community. He descends from a lineage of chiefs in the Main-Dombe region. His grandfather, Chief Lokonga Bwangoy, his grandfather, Chief Lokonga Bongo. His grandfather is the chief of Lokonga, and he grew up to study. So JR grew up to study agroforestry in North America, and eventually he returned to his ancestors' land near Lake Mai Ndombe to continue his grandfather's commitment to his people and the forests. We're also welcoming online Mr. Manfred Aime Epanda. Mr. Manfred has more than 18 years of experience in the field of conservation and development, from grassroots to national and regional in Cameroon and within the Congo Basin. In 2006, he was awarded a Whitley Award by His Royal Highness, the Princess Royal in Londo, for his significant contribution to the conservation and sustainable use of natural resources in the Ja Biosphere Reserve. He is the founder of Tropical Forest and Rural Development. So I'd like to welcome both Mr. Manfred and Mr. Jean-Robert. We're very happy to have you. I think we're going to start now with quick presentations of both the work of Nadej and then followed by the work of Jean-Robert. Nadej, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Leila. I will present Rainforest Alliance experience in conserving forests and enhancing food security in the Congo Basin. Rainforest Alliance is an international organization working for biodiversity conservation while sustaining livelihoods of communities. In Central Africa, we work in Cameroon, in DRC, and Northern Republic of Congo. Okay. Our experience in Cameroon on forest products is localized in the Mintom landscape. It's a landscape situated at the southern periphery of the Ja Reserve with about 60,000 hectares of forest managed by local communities. And for those who don't know, the Ja Reserve is a UNESCO biosphere reserve and with a unique biodiversity, including wild mammals and others. And this landscape is threatened by industrial logging concession, growing agro-industry concession, and also illegal wildlife trade. So in the landscape, we have several issues that can lead to the depletion of wildlife habitats. We have, for example, an absence of integrated multi-stakeholder structure. So the different actors working in the landscape or using lands in this area, we don't have like a platform of discussions among the municipality, the communities, or some administration on how the lands will be used concretely. And we also noticed that in the pink area you have there our community forest. Okay. You have a community forest, and in these community forests, we have cocoa plantations and palm oil plantation and also food crops for local communities. We also noticed that the high transaction cost of the parts of forest allocated to communities as community forest area are really a barrier to the sustainability of those spaces, and they are not economically viable. And with this, they are of high risk. They are at high risk of forest conversion. There is also an important agriculture-related encroachment in the forest. Whatever. Sorry. Our main objective in this landscape is to reduce tropical deforestation and enhance forest restoration in Cameroon through our integrated community forest management approach, in which the rights of the communities on the forest are maintained and the forest generates in high income for rural communities, but also continue to serve as a place for their food and ensure food security, because the majority of the population living in this landscape highly depends on forest products for their nutrition, but also for income generation. So the main non-timber forest products, these are products like fruits, seeds, and leaves. We made an analysis of the commercial value or food security value of non-timber forest products in Cameroon and DRC some years ago to show how important the non-timber forest products are for indigenous people and local communities. And there is a quite number of them, like the mushrooms, the nyetum, and other fruits and leaves, really used for consumption or also for sale. And we noticed that some of them are really important for food security, such as the mushroom and other spices that they use for their nutrition and with high value, with high nutritional value. This analysis also showed that the quantity of products that they sell really vary, depends on the type of forest products. For the leaves, for example, the leaves are generally exploited for consumption, while the fruits and seeds are generally exploited at the local level for markets, national market or local markets. And at the end of the day, these products are consumed by mostly by communities in Central Africa, and a limited portion is exported in the international markets. The analysis on the impacts of those non-timber forest products in the income of households in Cameroon and DRC shows that there is a high contribution. Individual foods can have until 36% of the total income generated by forest products. And in DRC, we noticed that honey is the main non-timber forest product, followed by caterpillars, really consumed at the DRC level. So this is to show that NTFP are really important, whether for the local consumption, but also for local markets. But there are also several barriers to the development of the non-timber forest products. We have constraints related to the access to the resource. For example, you can have cases where forest exploitation and NTFPs are in conflict. If we take the case of Moabi tree, Moabi timber is of high value for the logging sector, while the fruits of the Moabi are used by local communities for their consumption because they can extract oil, and it is also used in the cosmetic industry. We also have the creation of industrial agricultural plantation, leading to the felling of large trees. Some of them are non-timber forest product trees. And we have some issue with land appropriation. They can need authorization or payment of some rights in kind or in cash to landowner. This is the case we notice particularly in DRC. We also have constraints related to plant physiology. There are significant variation in productivity from one year to another for some of the fruits. Example, Moabi or Ivingia gabonensis, the wild mango. They don't produce every year. So it is difficult for the producers to really base a plan economy on timber forest products, because it depends highly on the phenology, and the productivity varies from one year to another. Another important barrier is the constraints related to exploitation, because exploitation is done by the use of rudimentary material, and there are some insufficiency in mastering the operating techniques, resulting in very low quality of most of the NTFP of the non-timber forest products. We also have, in some cases, the use of fire to hunt the bees. And we know that fire is really destructive for the tree itself, but also for the whole forest, shrubs and herbs near the trees. And in some cases, you have the communities really cutting the trees to exploit the products. Apart from this, we also have some constraints related to the conservation of the products. There is a high level of losses of forest products because some of them don't reach the market because of the difficulty in conservation. They mostly use solar drying for most of the NTFPs, and they don't have a mechanism to control the moisture contents of the products. So difficult for some of them to really reach national markets on time for consumption. Other constraints for the development of the non-timber forest product sector in Central Africa is that the collection is generally individual. There is a lack of organization, resulting in a very low quantity of products collected. And also the producers, they don't have market information to really negotiate the prices of their products to middlemen and increase their profits. So based on this analysis at the Rainforest Alliance level, we have started to implement some action with important results at the level of the farmers. You see there women in the Mintom community. They have set up an NTFP, non-timber forest product cooperative, so that they can work together to face the barrier of quantity of their products and also negotiation. And they have also been trained by the Rainforest Alliance in the organization of sales, resulting today in an increase of about 10 to 25% income in some products. Also in the integration, gender mainstreaming integration of men and other youth in the community and the collection of NTFP, because we know that non-timber forest products are generally collected by women or by indigenous people in the locality. And we are also working on reproduction of NTFPs, because with the conflicts with the logging or setup of agricultural plantation, NTFP trees are the number is reducing a lot, and the women and community and indigenous community, they have to work long distance to ensure that they can have some products for themselves or for the markets. And at the Rainforest Alliance, we also establish contacts and facilitate a negotiation between these women cooperative and the markets. And there is also a seed funding mechanism to support the cooperative to aggregate their products and really take their time to negotiate with the markets. Here at your left, you have the NTFP fruit tree nurseries that is established at Mintom. It will have about 10,000 seedlings, including wild mango and other fruit trees. They have been trained on vegetative multiplication. And once these seedlings will be ready, they can be able to plant the trees near their houses or in their food crops farms, so that the products can be easily accessible. Here on the quality improvement and market access, there are also some steps that have been made by equipping the women with equipment for collection and conservation. Some products, they have to be dried at the level of the forest. So you cannot easily have a dehydrator using electricity in the forest. So they really need to extract the kernel of the white mango, for example, and dry it directly in the forest before bringing it to the village level where they can continue the drying processes. And here it is the organization of the markets. The women themselves are at the center of the process. So we think that forest products highly contribute to improve food security of communities, those living in the production areas near the forest, but also those living in the nearby city at national level or international, because most of these products, we use them for cooking, and they are really important. And we think that we have started with some steps, with some good results at the level of the production, at the level of the markets, but there is still a long way to go. We have to put an emphasis on access rights and protection of the resource. We know that in Cameroon, in the Congo Basin, DRC also has the law on community forest concession. They are practically the only way local communities have to secure their rights on forests. In DRC, it's perpetual once they have the concession. In Cameroon, it's 25 years renewable. So we think that to maintain these access rights, we need to continue support the community forestry process and convention with the states so that the community are able to exploit their product for the market or consumption. Also, there is a need to build their capacity on sustainable production for more value added at local level, and develop more non-timber forest product processing and marketing enterprise at the national level or at the urban level where electricity is available, so that they can be products of good quality. And for this, there is a need to support the cooperative movement and also the setup of processing units. And we also think that there is a need to capitalize all the value chain actors with commercial partnership linked with the sustainable finance mechanism and loans at the level of banks or other financial institutions. And one of the most important elements is the labeling of products from forest community. We think that with the climate agenda today, it is important that people consuming those, that they know where they come from, they are sure that they are made by the indigenous community, and they can pay more to help protect the Congo Basin forest. For now, we don't have a non-timber forest product really labeled at the market level for the product from the Congo Basin, or very few of them. And there's a need for a well-established or developed information system to help those women's or those indigenous banker community at the forest level to have the right information on the prices, and also business development in general. So this is how the forest products contribute to food security, forest conservation, and how our Rainforest Alliance is contributing to the issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadej. That was very insightful. So, I mean, I do have a burning question, but I guess I'll leave it for a bit later. Do we have JR's presentation ready, or maybe then I'll jump to my burning question. Oh, there it is. JR, your turn. So I'm guessing this is not a slide, so he cannot use the remote control. Just a second. Okay, great. I think you have to go up and down. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much for your introduction. I am going to present the Maindombe Red Plus project and to show you how we work with local community to enhance their livelihood and also, to improve their food security. So we have almost 300,000 hectares of forest in the bank of the Congo River in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And we want to protect these forests and provide income to local community with direct money that comes from carbon credit source. So this concession, we got this concession after cancellation of an industrial logging concession, and we had an agreement with the government. So this is where the concession is located. This is the Lake Maindombe. This is the Lake Maindombe, and just in the right bank of the lake. So we have mostly, as you can see, this is one of the Ramsar sites. So as you can see here, it's not, so the pointer is not working, but all these are mostly peatlands. So it's a very critical area for protection. So we have 46% of semi-deciduous forest, 42% of swamp forest, and 5% of degraded forest, 7% of grass savanna, and 0.2% of inundated grassland. So what happened is the logging company will not completely degrade the forest. It comes out of a cascade of degradation. When they open the road in the forest, then local community come, and also this is all so, and they start selling. They start selling, fuel wood, and so the real thing is that this boat will bring this product to Kinshasa for free. But if they have to pay for a price, this will not be a sustainable way of living. But as the forest code asks the logging company to bring this thing for free to the market, then it gets more, it gets more, yeah. So this is what happened after the cascade of degradation comes into play. And we actually tried to partner with the community. So we had a FPIC process, and then we signed an agreement with all 28 villages in the project area. So when you discuss with them, they ask you for school, and they ask you for, to improve the healthcare in the area, and organize a number of things such as sell points in villages for manufactured goods, because it's difficult for them to get to the market, to reach the market in Kinshasa and buy this stuff. So they ask you to do that. So in our agreement, for the first 3 years, we give to local communities $0.5 for each ton that we sell in the market, or 25% of each offset money. So right now, this design was at the time the price was very, very low in the market, right? And this year the price went up, and I can tell you that the community of Maindombe has a lot of money. I will say, from the last sale, they have like $40 million. So we need to put it into now trust fund, that can help them bring money every single year. More than that, we share with the government. We share benefits with the government, and we pay taxes. Up to now, we have paid $27 million to the government, either national government or local government. And we have also already built 18 schools in the project area, 1 clinic. We are also giving additional benefits. So the real thing is, traditionally, our challenge is that traditionally we were told that if you need to be rich, you have to destroy the forest, right? So you have to clear the forest and do agriculture and sell your product. Now we come with a different model. We say, no, let's not cut the forest. Let's protect the forest, and we are going to get income. So at first they don't believe you, because I started the project and then found Mike Konchiski, because he was doing it in Kenya. So I was like, how can I do? Because I tried to get money from donors. I couldn't get money to start my project. And I said, what can I do? And I did research, and I found that Mike was doing it in Kenya, and they were selling carbon credit and giving benefits to community. I called him and I say, hey, Mike, I have a project in DRC. Why don't you join us? He said, okay, let's try to go for a visit, and I will decide. So we went for a visit, and we found out that people were really, the context was so bad. People living with less than $1 a day in these villages. They were not able to send kids to school and so on. And we decided to do this project. So, the area was at that time among the poorest on earth. People were surviving, as I said, less than $1 a day. And our activity was on sustainable slash-and-burn agriculture. So as such, it is an important driver of deforestation. So this is, what you see, slash-and-burn agriculture in action.
And a future generation.
Yeah. So what we did is we came in and said, look, you don't need to do slash and burn agriculture and, clear more and more and more. Let us use areas that are already cleared. Let us also not only produce cassava and produce other things. So we work with them. Here, as you can see, is tobacco. So we help them. This is actually cassava, and we bring very high yield cassava, material. We distribute to these women in villages, and you will see this is 10 times more production than regular cassava. You usually have, just 2 or 3, and not as big as this one. So then we work with every single village, and up to now, 80% of women are coming with us in this program. And we also say, this is kind of strange, because in every dish in the Congo, they use onions. And these people didn't know that they could grow onion in their village. So we were using onions coming from Belgium, from South Africa. And we say, let's try it, do it. And, we were able to produce what they have in their dishes. It was just amazing. And now we don't do it anymore. They do it. And when they produce more, they call us and they ask us to buy from them. So we buy from them because, if everyone in a village produce like onions, you cannot sell to your neighbor, right? So you need to bring it to a bigger market. So we buy from them and bring to the market in Kinshasa or in Inongo. Another problem we have in the Lake Maindombe is that people are using mosquito net for fishing. So the lake is actually empty completely. We did an eDNA campaign. We wanted to see with environment DNA what fish we have still in the lake and how abundant are these fish. The result is that there is almost no fish in the lake. So that is the reason why we decided to bring fish farming in the villages. I know you guys will probably ask about, how do we feed these fish? We use what you saw before. Oh, sorry. We actually use this stuff here, cassava, soybean that we produce in villages, and then we feed the fish with those. We don't use any chemical, anything from outside of the area. So, we can produce, those are catfish, local catfish from Congo, and we can produce these local fish and give to local community. And we do it in everywhere we have a river flowing, so we can create these fish farms. We are now in 3 villages with more than 10 fish ponds, but we are moving toward having this everywhere where we can have rivers. So, and I said about, so she said she talked to you about the honey, and I can tell you that our indigenous people in Ikita are the most important honey producer in DRC. They have produced this in the past because they don't cut trees. They climb on a tree at night to harvest this honey. While we, Bantu, when we see honey in a tree, we cut it down. We cut it down and get honey. So we have an unsustainable way of doing this activity than the pygmies. But we found it's a little bit dangerous for them to climb in the trees at night. So we decided to, do farming with them in their village, and this enhance their ability to produce honey. So in order for us to really protect the forest, we decided to work with these kids, because as you see, when kids don't go to school, they become deforestation agents in the future, and they will be highly destructive of the forest. That's why we have this program with school building. This is for the pygmy. For the first time in their entire life, their kid went to school, first time. So nobody cared about them, and you know, they could not go to school. And we made school absolutely free, you know. So this is what we do for education. So we have now built 18 schools, as I told you, and we want most of the kids or all the kids to be in school. I always tell them, your place is at school. So we also give them school uniform, because school uniform is a requirement in DRC. So we give school uniform to all kids in elementary school, and we also give learning kits to kids in every villages. This way we can partner with them. Also, we also have a mobile medical clinic for that goes to every village to try to solve their problem. And we have built this clinic where we have put you know, high-tech equipment for the villages. Another problem we have there is water-related illness. You know, where it is quite bizarre to see how in the Congo Basin, where we have abundant water, and people don't have clean water in the villages. So what we do is we have a drilling rig, a portable drilling rig, and we are providing clean water to every single village. So you see, this is how kids used to drink water before we have the water well. You know, this kid is actually a niece of mine. So now, by doing so, they accept to partner with us in conserving the forest and the biodiversity. And you see, as you see, the bonobo, you know, the most closest animal to the human, you know, they used to go very far away from people because of poaching. But now they come really close to villages, and then you can see them playing, you know, in the river. Elephants, when we got there was 0 elephants. But now we have close to 100 elephants in that area. We were lucky that in an area west of our project area, a logging company started to cut timber, and some elephant migrated to our project area, and we protected them. And now we have more than 100 elephants in that area. And what was, and you know, the giant pangolin, we thought it was, you know, completely extinct, but we see them in the forest. And this one is the most surprising for me. You know, the hyena, it is, we didn't think that it's still in the forest. But, you know, by protecting, you know, they're there. And also, this is Central African eagle. It's actually a very, very big eagle, like sometimes 1 meter tall. So this is actually what we have been doing and how we partner with local communities in the project area to protect the forest and get them benefits and, you know, fight hunger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, JR. That was really impressive. I think this is a really great example of, you know, forest conservation, food security, education security, as well as health security. So I know we don't have a lot of time left, but we want to pass it on to Manfred, who is was online, joining us online from Cameroon. I guess he's in Cameroon. So just a quick reminder, Manfred is the founder and director of Tropical Forests and Rural Development. Good evening, Manfred. Can you hear us? We cannot hear you. You are on mute. Could you maybe unmute yourself?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'm following
there
you.
You are. Thank you. So Manfred, I know that you wanted to show us a movie. We have a little technical challenge here, is that you would need to share your screen so we would be able to hear the movie, watch it and hear it mainly. Would this be possible? Or if it's not possible for you, then maybe you can just give us a quick presentation of what you're doing. Oh.
It's not possible for me now because I'm very network. I don't have good network where I am for now.
Okay.
As you said, I'm Manfred the Panda. We are working in Cameroon, trying to look for solution at the periphery of protected areas, solution for communities that are living at the periphery of protected areas in Cameroon. And for that, we work at the periphery of the Dja Reserve in Cameroon, and also at the periphery of the Campoman National in Cameroon, in the coastal area. And we target the communities. They feel like they're being also, they are surrounded by logging concessions where most of the time they don't have access to those areas where there are a lot of resources. And then many people can ask themselves, why is it that people are living where there are a lot of resources, but a lot of poverty at the same time? So we started trying to understand why. Also, there was a complaint with the community involved in poaching. And we started asking the question to know the perception of local communities towards wildlife and their perception towards conservation. And the answer was very simple. They consider wildlife like meat to eat, and also conservation like for the white people. And that's why they don't have more interest in all those things. And also at the same time, there are many resources like non-timber forest products that they are used to, but as Nadej explained, spices to eat for food and the rest, but nothing in terms of valorization of those non-timber forest products. So we started looking for solution, how to change the perception of local communities. And we started with the children, trying to give them another perception of animals, which is different from the one they know or they have seen their parents talking about. And that's why we started with environmental education, which is very important because we succeeded to show the children gorillas like animals that are living as a family. If we ask them, father or the other to be killed, and they say no. And we say it is the same thing with the animals or the family of gorillas or chimps or elephants that are living in the forest. And they realize that their parents used to kill animals. And that's where everything started. And they started having another perception of animals because they also, like us, they also live in families. And then it is not good to kill them. That is for the children. They are old people who are poachers most of the time. And there have been conflict because most of the children have always seen either their uncle or their father or their mother caught by eco guards, and there have been a lot of conflicts. And for the old people, it is not easy to change their perception. Things have to be done bit by bit. That's why they were introduced into the setup of agroforest based on cocoa, where there are fruit trees, plantains, and other local trees. And then that had the money many times in the year through many multiple activities that they were carrying out. The women were also there. And then we started valorizing non-timber forest products. And I think after 5 years working with them, we will realize that, in fact, the next step in trying to bring people, in trying to bring back, change the perception, focusing on non-timber forest products, was the quality to ameliorate. We carried out some studies because there were most of them that were just follow up in terms of quality, because it's opened the opportunity for going into cosmetics, for food, and also for medicine. And to have such products, we need to work on the quality. And we did it with a lot of joy to realize at the end that it is possible even to process, to start the process in the villages, no matter some of the difficulties that were raised, that they raised some of the difficulties in the local area, but we succeeded to work with the women using some techniques, working on some equipment that don't need energy and that can help to start the processing. And then the process will carry out where we can have energy, and we succeeded to reach the luxury market where the value, we capture more value along the chain, and that can go back to the local communities in the village. It is very important. One thing I can share from our experience is that we should work with the local communities in the village to collect those products. It can also be for cocoa, those products, but it is important to think about transformation. Think about transformation. That is possible. If you realize we started in the process of transforming, working on soap making in many of our villages. Soap is always coming from outside. Meanwhile, in the villages. And that is something very important that we succeeded to do. And then they can produce all types of soap by themselves using the appropriate adapted material and equipment that we succeeded to produce to them. And that is very important. I think when they have realized that the resources that they have are important, they can protect it now. But if something is not useful to you, you cannot keep it. That is something very logical. Now they realize that the resources are many around them. It is possible to start the transformation. It is possible to add more value to ameliorate their living condition. And this is a very strong incentive for conservation. So in our search of solution for the peripheries of the protected areas, I think the community, what we can say up to now is that community have started changing their perception towards the resources and also towards wildlife. And there are many things that have to be done. Again, continue to work with them because there is this aspect of markets and the rest. But if we have transformers, the transformers can come and buy and collect products and give them other goods that can be used in the village and ameliorate their condition. But what I can say is that their perception towards resources, towards wildlife in the area where they are staying have been ameliorated. And this is a very, very great footstep toward food security because they can benefit, they can make use of resources that are in their environment. And that's where we should start when we are looking for solution for food security. There are resources that are available where they are transformation of those resources because the cosmetics and the rest, so they can also generate a lot of money. So that's what I can say for now. Unfortunately, we cannot present our video, which was the Equator Prize, the 2021 Equator Prize winners. So, but that's what I can answer to all. I can also answer to questions to try to bring more light in what I said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manfred. And yes, unfortunately, we cannot show the video, but we'll make sure to share the links, the link later. And yeah, thank you really for your input. I think we're a bit running out of time. So to just get quickly, I mean, I have some questions. And as I said, Nadège, I had this burning question to you. So in the beginning, when in your presentation, you discussed the barriers and you kind of like, you mentioned the market several times. But I'm also wondering, like in comparison to Latin America, why are non-timber forest products from Central Africa not that visible on the international market? Like, yeah.
Okay,
thank you.
I think there are a lot of progress. There are a lot of progress that have been made. For example, in Cameroon now, the American embassy, now in Maryland, there is a trade fair that is taking place there. And we can find the non-timber forest products that are coming from the Jar Reserve at that trade fair. So there are a lot of work that have been done so that in the list of Cameroon products that have been forest product now. So there is a lot of work. And if it is done, the added value will also be redistributed with the local communities in the villages.
Okay, thank you, Manfred. Now, Nadège, do you want to add anything to what Manfred was saying? And from your perspective, from the Rainforest Alliance, what are the solutions that the Rainforest Alliance is bringing to tackle these challenges? And how is the Rainforest Alliance contributing to both forest conservation and food security?
Okay, thank you, Leila. To complement what Manfred just said, we see forest products from Central Africa in FAIRS, but we don't yet see them in distribution. In markets, general markets. It is not easy to find them in international market apart from the fair and so on. So we think that there is a lot to do in quality. There are some progress, but they are still very small. We need more investment on the quality of products. We need investment on the analysis of the nutritive values of those products so that when they are packed, good packaging and labeling, people at the grid distributions, they can know the detail level, consumer can know what are the nutritive values. And also we note that there are many products from Africa, from the Congo Basin, like African walnuts. We use it in the region as snack, but you will not see it at the international market because we still consume them fresh. There's a need to improve the quality and conservation of the products. What is a Rainforest Alliance doing? Rainforest Alliance and partners, We are working with in our private sector partners to present the different products we have in Central Africa, to explore how we can build these value chains from the forest to the market. For example, if I take the case of African walnut, for example, it's a snack. It can be used as the hazelnuts in chocolate bars and so on. So we are trying we are discussing with our partners in the chocolate industry to see how this product can be valorized. So we are still working on it. We hope that in few years, we will also have those type of product from Congo Basin, from Africa, in chocolate bars, for example.
Yeah, that would be really great. I'm looking forward to this. So, JR, I mean, I said it. It was really, I mean, a great example what you gave us of both forest conservation, food security in your region, but as well as, you know, health security, education security. But I'm wondering, what are the challenges that you have encountered when you were implementing these programs, whether it's from a cultural aspect or something else? And have you seen any results also? I mean, you showed us really amazing results, but can you give us like maybe more information on this?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the most important challenge is I'm going to quote one villager, and when we went there, a villager said, "Oh, how can JR sell the air, right? How can you sell just, you know, it's." So they don't know about CO2. They don't know about anything, you know. How can you sell the smoke? That's what they say, you know. It just, we just cannot believe it. They were used to having logging company, cutting timbers. They know that the logging company will sell timber and, you know, share the money or make some payment to, but they say, yes, okay, we accept to preserving the forest, but how can you sell the smoke? It's just, you know, and that was one of the most important challenge, because the logging companies wanted to have the forest back to them, back to logging. And they were telling people at that time that, you know what, they are taking your oxygen from the forest and trying to bring it to Canada, you know, and people will believe and pose a lot of problems about that. Yeah, they are stealing the air. So what are we going to do, you know? So it took a lot of time for them to understand that it's just a concept and it's better for them, you know, because they are getting funding. And one big challenge was the funding. How do you get funding to do this? And knowing that, you know, people even don't believe that you can sell the smoke and bring the money to villages. So the other thing is you have 28 villages. Where do you start? Everyone need a school in their village today, not tomorrow. So how do you convince people that we can start in this village? We try to do like a meeting and have them try to agree on priority on a village where you can start. Nobody wanted the school to be built in the other village. Everyone wanted to start in their village, and there was a fight. You know, even in the village, when you decided to build a school in this corner of the village, these people will be unhappy and say, no, 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 you don't build there. You need to build here, you know? So it's, and then, you know, after years, then they start to understand that yes, the process is on. And once you have built the first village, and they see the second village, and they see you coming closer to their village, then they get like, yes, you know, we are going to get this. But if you don't have money to do like to build 6 at a time, it's just, yeah, a big challenge.
Indeed. I mean, I can only imagine what you're saying. So yeah, I mean, we're a bit running out of time. I don't know, Manfred, if you want to add up anything to what Nadej and JR just said, especially when you touched based on, you know, how to change the perception of, you know, local communities towards wildlife resources, and that could bring them food security. Any quick input to Nadej and JR, like really quick? Manfred, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can hear you
is
now.
that okay? One thing I would like to add is to say that we should develop entrepreneurship. We have succeeded to go through the chain, the value chain of even cocoa or non-timber forest products, working on all the packaging and the rest, reaching to the market. We should scale it up. And to do it well, we should introduce the entrepreneurship approach into the communities. Because most of the time, our people have been used to receive, that they should give them gift. We should develop entrepreneurship approach, and it is possible. The second thing I would like to add is that our government should change the legislation. Our legislation is not favorable for social business that can include communities. Because when you start working into the valorization of all these products and the rest, you'll be taxed like a big firm, and that will be the end of the story. So our government and institutions should see how to give us a social business legislation that can promote all these activities, to make the link around the communities that need to be valorized in the line of seeking solution for food security. There are already a lot of resources around. We have succeeded to transform many of them. I think that it is good to go in with entrepreneurship approach and create a lot of small entrepreneurs that can enhance a lot of transformation in the local area for the benefit of communities that are living in those areas. By doing so, they will have another perception of wildlife, and biodiversity and wildlife and the rest will be protected. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manfred. So yeah, I mean, just really quickly, because we don't have time, and I'm not sure if anyone in the public would like to ask a question before we close. Yes, Ja.
Yes, my question is going to ask DRC. In fact, I want to know in terms of were there a baseline at the beginning done so that from now, because I see the project started in 2008. For now to have here in 2021 to see what's the real impact, especially at the community level or at the household level. Does the project bring some improvement in the household of the community? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So we have a baseline. I told you when we got to villages, there was no school in most of the villages, absolutely no school. And in big villages where they had school, teacher had not been paid, and you know, parents didn't even have 0.25 dollar they were asking per kid per month. So we have all this baseline, and we do reporting every 3 months and every 6 months and every year on how we are, you know, in education, agriculture, you know, health and everything. So we do a baseline. Now I can tell you that we have schools in every village. We have schools in every village, and our teachers are getting paid by us, except where the government is taking care of them. But in most cases, we pay them salary, and we provide school uniform to our kids. On the health side, we are a little bit behind. That's why we are still running a mobile clinic. You know, we run a mobile clinic, a clinic that goes from village to village, because we have not, we're not fast enough to build clinics, but we will need to improve in that regard. Also for food production, you know, the most important crop they have there is cassava. Now we have reached pretty much 80% of people in the project area with improved cassava yield material. So you know, we actually do measure, you know, we actually do monitor all aspects of these activities in the project area. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not sure if we have any question in the chat. Do we have anything? No? Okay, great. Well, so what I can just like summarize really quickly, what we've noted here is really important to conserve forests and enhance food security in the Congo Basin. We need to make sure that there's enough access to funding, access to market, enabling socioeconomic incentives and entrepreneurship, influencing and changing national and local policies to overcome those challenges. I have one last question, and this will be like our closing remarks for you guys. I'm not sure if Manfred is still online. Do we have? Okay, so we have one question really quickly, then the question, and I'm going to read it in French. So, comment les savoirs traditionnels peuvent-ils permettre d'assurer la sécurité alimentaire pour les peuples autochtones du bassin du Congo? So how do traditional knowledge can allow or can ensure food security for indigenous people in the Congo Basin? JR, do you want to pick this, or Nadej maybe?
Yeah.
Manfred.
Can I put it in French for the person who asked the question?
So the question is, how...
I got the question.
Oh, yeah, maybe you can respond in French because I think the person is French speaking.
Are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. Talking about local knowledge. Local knowledge are very important for food security, because there are still a lot of resources around the communities where they are living now. And they have a lot of knowledge for purposes to help them to give more value to those resources, mostly in terms of transformation, in terms of conservation, in terms of valuing them. There is a lot of knowledge concerning the resources that are available. That is what I want to insist. We can bring in just some small technology to start working from there, from the villages with those resources to fight, to make sure that we contribute to food security. That is one thing very important. If you go to the local communities, like the indigenous people, they have a lot of knowledge. We succeeded to collect some fruits that are used and we press them to extract oil, butter, very useful for medicine, to fight against some of the diseases that concern the women, the children, the diseases concerning malnutrition and the rest. We just need to go back and get those resources and start using them. There is a lot of tea that are used in our communities that are not valorized. We just need to use good dryer, for example, and then to put them in good condition so that it can even go right to the market.
Yeah.
We have knowledge in terms of
excuse me,
quality.
Manfred, I'm interrupting you. It's just because we're getting really close to the end of the session, and with the communication, your communication is breaking a lot. So we might allow JR and Nadesh to build on your answers, please.
Yeah, as it's French speaking, can I answer in French, right?
Sure, definitely you can answer in French.
Yeah. Je voulais dire que les peuples autochtones ont beaucoup à nous apprendre, mais je pense que nous n'avons pas suffisamment appris. Je viens de donner l'exemple de la récolte de miel par les communautés autochtones. Ils ne détruisent pas les arbres. Ils ne scient pas la planche sur laquelle ils sont assis. Ils montent dans l'arbre et ils vont récolter le miel et ils laissent les abeilles tranquilles pour la production de l'année suivante. C'est pour ça qu'ils sont des grands producteurs de miel. Mais je vais encore aller plus loin en vous disant que nous avons eu dans notre zone d'études, nous avons eu des épisodes importants d'épidémie de rougeole. Et je peux vous dire que dans notre village des peuples autochtones d'Ikita, il n'y a jamais eu cette maladie-là, la rougeole, dans leur village. Nous sommes allés avec des vaccins pour essayer de les convaincre de vacciner leurs enfants. Ils nous ont dit que nous ne voulons pas de ces histoires chez nous ici. Nous ne faisons pas cette maladie. Et on était un peu inquiets parce que les enfants voisins, ils vont à l'école avec les enfants pygmées, ils viennent là à l'école. Et ces enfants-là ont fait la rougeole. Mais comme ils ont dit, les enfants pygmées n'ont jamais développé la maladie. Nous n'avons pas demandé aux peuples autochtones de nous dire qu'est-ce qu'ils font. Vous voyez, ils ont certainement un savoir. Ils ont certainement des plantes qu'ils utilisent, mais que nous ne connaissons pas parce que, en fait, nous ne voulons pas souvent nous approcher d'eux et leur demander leur technique. Si vous essayez aussi de voir dans notre zone d'études, les enfants bantous dans les villages actuellement avec la raréfaction du poisson, il y a beaucoup d'enfants qui font de la malnutrition protéino-calorifique. Mais nous n'avons alors jamais vu non plus cette maladie dans les villages chez les pygmées. Parce qu'ils ont des méthodes de pêche, ils ont toujours des aliments pour leurs enfants dans les villages et ils ont aussi d'autres aliments probablement que nous ne connaissons pas. Mais le vrai problème est que nous les minimisons tellement que nous ne pensons pas que nous pouvons apprendre d'eux. Je crois que c'est nous qui devons faire un effort pour apprendre les connaissances traditionnelles des peuples autochtones. Ils ont vécu très longtemps dans la forêt et ils savent exactement comment réagir dans la forêt.
Merci. Et je pense que beaucoup de personnes sont d'accord avec vous, même la personne qui a posé la question. Je ne pense pas qu'on va avoir le temps de passer à la deuxième question. Nadège, est-ce que vous voulez rajouter quelque chose à cette question?
Oui, je prendrai l'exemple, I will take the example of caterpillars. These are for our English-speaking. Caterpillar is really used at the local level for consumption. And we know today that protein of the future will be such type of proteins, and it is quite possible to raise caterpillar for human nutrition. And we think that we can use them as local people, as local communities and indigenous people are using it in the forest to feed babies, to include in their daily meal, to include in livestock rearing, and also for all people with nutritious insufficiency. So local and traditional knowledge of local community is really important to identify the type of forest products we need, and then with some analysis on their contents, we can really use them for our nutritious and save some of our forests and reduce our climate impacts.
Thank you. Thank you, Nadège. I mean, I think everybody would agree, and traditional knowledge, whether from the local communities or indigenous people, are really valuable, especially in regards to climate change impact. And this is where I get to my last question of the closing remarks. So really quickly, like in a small sentence, what would be your climate action recommendation for the Congo Basin, from your perspective, from your experience, from your knowledge? Should we start with you, JR?
Yeah, I think the Congo Basin is very important for the world. Actually, everyone, we all recognize this, but we need not only to recognize it verbally, but we need to have action. We need to help these people living in the forest protect the forest. Otherwise, it can be a bomb to humanity if we don't help them protect the forest.
Yep. Thank you. Nadège?
We have information today that because of its diversity, the Congo Basin is the first lung of the humanity, stocking more carbon per kilometer squared than the Amazon. So we think that it is time to really increase our investment in the region so that our forests can be economically viable for the local communities.
Great. So now we cannot say that it's the lungs of Africa, but more like the lungs of the world nowadays. Manfred, really quickly, what's your climate action recommendation for the Congo Basin?
I think my climate recommendation for the Congo Basin is to increase the transformation of local. There's a lot of treasures for food security, for climate change mitigation, and also for economic incentive for countries in the Congo Basin.
Thank you. And thank you all for joining us tonight. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.